Hello, my darlings. It's ALP in Whisperland here, where I live in Canada right now. We are in super very winter times. There's a lot of snow on the ground, and my days of sunlight, they're a lot shorter right now for the time being. On days like this, I am sometimes known to get up a little earlier than usual. Still not too early. I'm definitely not a morning person, but earlier than usual, so that I can enjoy just a couple hours more sunlight than I usually get to have. The snow outside really can bounce that sun and make it much, much more cheerful. So I like to enjoy that whenever possible, because it's been a little more dreary than usual lately. I decided that I want to spend my day today decorating my office, making it a little bit more warm and cozy. So I hope that you'll join me for that. Every good decorating day, I think, needs to start with a solid cup of tea. Today I'm having Earl Grey as usual, my favorite, and I'm enjoying it in a very special seasonal holiday cup. Things like this, you really have to use them this time of year because there is such a small window of use. So I try to use special things like this every day that I can, just so that, that I get my full use of them. A part of me almost wanted to say that the item gets to live its full potential. We're gonna make a couple of DIYs today. I've got this lovely ribbon that my friend picked up for me in New York, actually. This is from MJ Trimmings, a lovely pink. And I've got some ornament hooks here. These are just from the dollar store, actually. I'm going to take a little time here and take these outside to change their color. So far this year, I've only been able to really find silver ornament hooks. Maybe where you live they sell gold or brass, but in my neck of the woods, I haven't had too much luck, so just giving these guys a little quick spray. Since the toppers of the ornaments that I'm going to be using today are brass, I thought it would look a little weird to have silver. That's the kind of thing I tend to notice. Let's start making some lovely bows. I'm going to show you how today. This is the method I use every single time I make a velvet bow. So I'm measuring out a little bit of ribbon here based on the desired size of the bow that I'm going to make. And as well, I'm going to cut 2 smaller pieces. Those are going to be the little edges of my ribbon, or I guess the free edge part of my ribbon. I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it, but you'll see what I mean in a second here. This is my Well Bond glue. I use this for a lot of my craft projects, it's a really intense glue. It's like a cement glue, basically. But I like working with it, even though it takes a long time to dry. It can take a couple hours. So I'm going to glue both free sides of the ribbon here towards the middle. Now, this is kind of a weird way of making bows. I'm not tying anything at all. I guess a lot of people, when they see my method, might think this is not the easiest way. But for me, it is the easiest way. It's just more time consuming, but it makes a perfect bow every time. These are just claw clips, like bulldog clips, used for paper, but I'm just using them to keep the bow parts that are glued tight and in place while it dries. We'll cut the cute little angles to make, the ribbon very beautiful, just like that, by cutting a triangle out. And we'll do that on both sides. When you're doing this yourself, if you should decide to, which I strongly encourage, you can experiment with all kinds of different lengths. It will depend on the thickness of your ribbon. I like to use, when I'm doing something with velvet ribbon, just a little bit of heat on the ends. You can kind of see it looks sprayed if you don't, because the soft fluff of the ribbon will hang over. You don't need to touch it with the flame, just like being near the heat kind of melts it just a little bit, and this keeps my ribbons from fraying. So now I'm going to glue these parts. Take a look at these next to each other. This is how I sort of envision the shape of the ribbon. I can kind of hold it on top to sort of figure out the angle before gluing it. I have a little bit of plastic down under what I'm doing, just because this glue, once it dries, it's pretty intense, I don't want to get it on anything. So I'm just pressing these pretty lightly, and these are going to sit right here until they dry. I like to use these little, different little clips that are normally paper clips, and just put them carefully on the edge to help my ribbons dry in place. As long as you don't use too much glue, they never stick to the ribbon, so it works great. Here's one that I did a little while ago. It's exactly the same, and you can see the glue is dried, so it's ready for the next step. I'm going to take one last piece of ribbon and put the top on top of the bottom part. Doesn't it look cute already? Oh my gosh. And I'm going to trim this little bit that we glued on the bottom, just to make sure that the bow is completely seamless. There will be no visible clue to anyone looking at it that this is totally a fakey ribbon. I mean, it's real ribbon, but it's just not tied. Ribbons like this, although they take a little longer to make, I swear it gives you a perfect ribbon every time, and you don't have to muss and fuss with it. That's the part I hate, is trying to tie a bow that looks absolutely perfect. Besides, this way it will stay perfect forever. So, I've got a little bit of glue. I'm going to put a dot right here, right in the middle, not too much. Otherwise, it could press through the ribbon. And just a little bit on the back here as well, just a little dot. Now I'm going to take this middle piece, and I'm just gonna sort of lay it on top and swirl it around a little bit to try to create a flat, even surface for the glue to permeate into the ribbon. And press down gently on the back there as well. So this just needs somewhere safe to dry, but it looks gorgeous already. With these ones at this stage, I like to just not use an actual clip like clipped onto it, but just gently sitting on top there, because the weight of it just works really well. You can make ribbons and bows any size. I made these big ones. I left a little tail at the back when I did the middle section. I'm going to attach it with this white pipe cleaner. Now you don't have to use any of these colors, but I chose these colors today because the tree I'm going to be setting up is white. So my thought process is the white pipe cleaner will be perfect to help attach the bow into the tree in a not obvious way. It will be like an illusion. And now that just needs to dry. Let's start setting up the tree now. So this tree right here was my first tree to ever have as like a grown-up sort of person. It's about, I think almost 9 years old now. I do have a green tree now, which I consider like my main tree, the tree that I like invest a lot of time in decorating. But this year I have a little more office space, and I decided, since this white tree is very much like also in my decorating aesthetic, I really wanted to get it out and like actually do something really special with it and set it up. My plan with this tree and the other tree I have as well, since they are fake trees, I want to use them for at least 20 years. The tree that I grew up with in my house was way older than 20 years, probably more like 30. But I think if I can get 20 years out of these, I'll be pretty satisfied. A big part for me of setting up a tree is really properly fluffing it. It takes more time, of course, to do this. I'm kind of methodical. I go row by row, fluffing each branch until I'm satisfied with it. A lot of times in life, my personal motto is that you can go faster by going slower. So the ribbons and fluffing the tree, they're both very good examples of this. For example, the bows that I make, they do take longer to do, but it's an incredibly fun and pleasurable process because I never feel frustrated throughout it. It takes a lot more patience, perhaps, and time to glue individual parts of a bow, but I never feel, a struggle through it the way I think I would feel if I was trying to tie perfect bows. And they look great every time. Taking the time to fluff every branch really helps make the tree look super full. This is not by any means a particularly fancy tree, but I want to make it look the best it can. So fluffing it is a big part of that for me. I love the way this tree looks. It's kind of, it's a little tacky, right? Like, I think that a white tree just is kind of kitschy, but I like that about that. And in this room, I think I am kind of going for like a little bit of a tacky mid-century look, so I think it suits quite well. I'm going to be using these white lights as well because the tree isn't super full. If I use any other color of lights, I think that would stand out too much, or like, stand out in a way that I don't want it to. So these lights will work just fine for my needs today. They're pretty bright. I hadn't used these ones before, but I kind of like how they look. Doing lights is probably the least fun part to me of decorating any tree. Like, the payoff of lights is so high because it creates beautiful ambiance. Like, I love the look of fairy lights in a room. They just have such a soft, warm glow to them. But wrapping them around a tree is like not my favorite thing to do. But it must be done to achieve the look. So I'm going to do my best today to try to evenly disperse them. I think that's the thing I like the least about it. But we have to do our best, I feel like maybe some of you, like me, might be possibly dealing with some loss or grief. And this time of year can be particularly difficult for that. I just want you to, if you're in that space with me, try to be a little easy on yourself, especially right now. I think that a lot of us are dealing with things like this, and more than we let on or say. So you're not alone in it. And a lot of people are dealing with all kinds of stresses and difficulties. So let's all try to have a little kindness in our hearts as we deal with other people right now. I'm really trying to do that as well, even though I can feel overwhelmed right now a lot. I'm trying to remind myself that kind of everyone's in the same boat, It's not always easy. So we have to take little moments like this and kind of find our own inspiration, This is one of the little things that I'm trying to do to kind of keep myself grounded. Something I like to say is that all you need to do to make a new tradition is to do something twice. So I've been repeating that to myself a lot this year and to my loved ones as well. If you want to make a new tradition, all you need to do is to do that thing twice, and it becomes something you do. So if you want to make a new tradition this year, even if it's just with yourself, you can just do it. And if you do it twice, that's your new tradition now. Maybe I'll make setting this little white tree up part of my new tradition. I do find with things like this, they just get better every year you put them up. Be it like Halloween decorations, anything you do. Because you always find little new things to add. You know, this could be like that for me, I feel. You can see how easy it is to set bows up on anything, a garland, a tree, when you have these little pipe cleaner attachments. And if you use the same color, it just totally hides it. I love this method. I strongly encourage anyone who wants to try it to just give it a go. I have also made hair bows with this exact bow method, even bows that I've worn on this channel before, so you might like giving it a try. Decorating the tree is the part I love the most. What I usually do is I lay all of my ornaments out on the floor. You know, very carefully. You have to be careful. But I arrange them by size. So the biggest ones on one end, going to medium ones, all the way down to small ones. And the big ones always go up first, of course. I try to evenly place them, like with good spacing, all around the tree. And it can look pretty bare at that point. But then I start with the medium ones, and I start filling in all those little spaces, ending with the really, really tiny little itty bitty ones. And those ones are kind of like filler. They fill in all the little missing spots that need a little something. And of course, the final, most precious activity in setting up a tree is the little topper. I don't really have a topper for this tree, so I just made a bow for it. And I kind of like how it looks, actually. I think next year I might make like a really big bow to go on the top. But for now, I just have this sort of like small sort of Cindy Lou Ho bow for the top. It's cute though, you know. It's kind of precious. I don't have a ton of ornaments for this one, but I actually feel like that kind of makes it look nice. It's not too full. It's got just the right amount of stuff on it. And the glow, it's made me so happy and really brightened up this whole little space. I don't really have very much in this room just yet, but for now I have this wonderful glow of the tree, and I've got to have a nice little tea to finish off, of course. In my world, tea is both an incentive to get out of bed and also a reward for a very well done job and, you know, to provide a sense of accomplishment. And a better way to enjoy it than to sit back, take a sip, and admire your very hard work. My darlings, I hope that you are having a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you very soon.